Alrighty, so a lot of us has known that we've worked at a lot of different places in many different environments with a lot of different people, right? But there's a lot of different types of coworkers that a lot of people don't seem to talk about. But today, guys, we're going to talk about those coworkers. We're going to bring them to light. What's up, guys? I'm a Marks Games, and today we're talking about these type of coworkers that we all should avoid in the workplace. Now, the first type of coworker may not be the most popular one, but the one that quickly befriends you. And I'm not talking about the ones that are actually trying to be your friend and be nice to you. I mean the ones that are trying to befriend you to the point where they're trying to be so goddamn friendly that they're trying to get information out of you and try to even meet up with you. Now, I know this is a very specific one and a very niche type of coworker, but it has happened to me at least once, right? And this guy was very weird. Like, he was quickly trying to be my friend to try to get my information out of me so he could try to use it against me, against the company I was working at the time, which is so fucking weird, man, because I never met anyone like this. I never really cared, but it's like, holy crap. Like, this guy is more of like the snitch, but more on the personal side, and it can be very scary. And unfortunately, yeah, it's not a very good thing. Now, the second type of coworker is called the wannabe manager. Now, I call this one like act your wage because this guy is the most infuriating coworker that you guys have to deal with, right? Like, this guy will do anything to boss you around, even though he does not or she does not act like a manager or she's not a manager. It's most annoying too because a lot of these type of coworkers, man, these motherfuckers will try to like get promoted and stuff. But at the end of the day, man, a lot of people who get promoted usually don't have to try that hard to get promoted. A lot of it's just kind of chose randomly. I kind of realized because I do remember when I was a kid, I was thinking working hard would get you promoted, but most of the time it really don't, and it's really sad. But it is kind of funny seeing these types of fucking coworkers try to act like a know-it-all, and they try to act like they're perfect and everything at the job just so they can try to get promoted. It's kind of cute. Now, this is the most popular type of coworker. It's the most negative Nancy and drama king or drama queen. Now, this is a type of coworker that tries to associate with everybody in a weird way, try to get everyone to talk to them, but they also will drag their problems down into you. They'll cause a lot of drama and shit. They'll also start a bunch of fucking fights at work and everything, and they'll make everything a big deal. And these motherfuckers like to blow everything out of proportion, and it's the most infuriating and annoying thing ever. Because I've seen so many coworkers like who act like this. They try to escalate fights and everything. It's kind of like high school, but like worse because it's in a work environment. And these people, well, for some reason, these people are like roaches and they never go away and they never get fired most of the time. For some reason, these types of people are the hardest to get fired for a lot of jobs for some reason. And a lot of these people are not even good workers either. A lot of these people are just fucking insane. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember having a coworker that would also cause so much beef with everyone that he legit like started swinging at a coworker and everything. And all they got was sent home and then came up the next day because it was a fucking warehouse, and a lot of people at the warehouses don't seem to give a shit. And you figured that would be like the final straw for like most places, but at the warehouse for some reason I was working at, they didn't seem to fucking care. They just like wrote them up on their computer and then they showed up back to work the next day. And I found that shit a little scary. Definitely avoid these types of coworkers because it is absolutely terrifying. Now, this one kind of varies about where you work at too, but there's a coworker that always tries to sleep with everybody. Unfortunately, there's this type of coworker where there's a lot of people that will try to sell their bodies around work at the workplace and they'll try to sleep around with a lot of people. Now, this may not happen to everybody. I've seen it happen many times with one coworker having this weird reputation of sleeping around at the workplace, and it's absolutely fucking terrible because a lot of the time this person's trying to get them in trouble as well. And a lot of them, there's this girl or whatever who it is, will try to also find ways to sleep around at the random workplaces too, because there's so many fucking stories I've seen and heard of people sleeping around in the workplace for some reason inside the workplace, which blows my mind because how the fuck do you like find a way to do that and not feel weird or bad about it, man? Like, I get it, it's at work and you're bored and shit, but like, I don't care who you are, man. Don't do that shit. And most of the time, man, I wouldn't. Oh man, don't even date or sleep with your coworkers. By the way, man, it's just not a good idea. It just does not mix well. Like, for me, like I've heard stories, I've seen it do well, but for me, it's not for me. But you know what? If you do have met someone from work and you found success, well, congrats to you. But it's not should be for everybody. Now, this is also a very popular type of coworker, and this one is the very political coworker. This is the coworker that has to bring everything with politics come to light, right? Like they're obsessed with politics. Their politics is their identity, so they'll always talk about it at work and try to get a rise out of people or try to fucking annoy people and stuff. It's honestly a big distraction with this type of coworker because at the end of the day, man, it's just a waste of time. Like, a lot of us are just here to work and just go home. But yes, this type of coworker, man, these people will fucking find ways to try to get your political opinions out there. Some of them will even try to snitch on you for having a different political opinion than them, and then like, you know, try to get other people to beef with you and shit. It's really not worth it. I've seen it go down. It is absolutely just dreadful and just stupid. Like, bro, we are already at a depressing ass work environment, man. We don't have to put up with this shit too, man. That just adds more salt to the wound, if you know what I mean. Like, come on. Also, don't forget about the coworkers that like to deal drugs at work. Like, there's some people that will do some drug dealing, right? And I remember working at the warehouse, and I was in the bathroom working a late night shift that I picked up just for extra money. And I'll never forget, this guy was drug dealing with another dude in the bathroom about a gram of like crack or something. Like, it was pretty bad too. It was some pretty heavy shit. And I was like a little shocked that this shit was going down at the workplace a little bit, because I just never seen it go down before. Thankfully, I was like listening in the stalls, and then like, you know, I got out of there as soon as I could. But yeah, there's people who will try to drug deal and sell their drugs at the workplace inside the bathrooms and everything, and I find that really weird too. Like the fact that some people are so like careless about stuff with what they do at work like that. The fact that even stuff that can get them arrested and in jail, that blows my mind a little bit. You know, like if you're gonna like do some shit like that, at least hide it. Don't tell your coworkers about it. And the craziest part is there's a lot of coworkers that just straight up, you know, want to participate in it as well. So I guess there's like a fucking, you know, two-way street and everything. But goddamn, like I would never do that. Like, oh, like that. It just sounds fucking terrible. Like, I don't know. Especially like imagine getting called into the office or whatever the fuck you're working at, and they just tell you and they catch you on camera that you were selling drugs. Like, For me, I'm definitely very anti-drugs, by the way, and I'll definitely make a video about that on its own, like video idea, you know. And the last but not least, obviously, is the secret shoppers, or the guys who pretend to be higher ups just to try to get you fired. Now, obviously, these type of people are very easy to spot out, because a lot of the times, man, they be dressing up in goofy ass outfits and they be very stereotypical. And so most of the time, it's pretty obvious. It's very similar to how police officers try to dress up as drug dealers and everything, and they give you this weird old ass slang from the '90s or something, because a lot of them are out of touch, and it's fucking funny. But you know, avoid, you know, the secret shoppers and everything, because I've had a friend that actually fell for one of these one time. He fell for a secret shopper at a retail store, and the guy was absolutely acting completely obnoxious and dumb on purpose. And he didn't like smile or said something friendly enough in a weird ass tone, so he got fired for it. And it was fucking wild, because the guy wasn't a bad worker or nothing. He didn't even give an attitude or nothing. He just didn't, I guess, meet up to quote unquote company standards, so they fucking canned his ass over just basically not sounding friendly enough. And that shit is kind of crazy, because customer service can be a very two-edged sword. It can be very good when it goes well, but when it also goes really bad, it goes extremely bad, man. Like, there's no in between. And the last but final type of coworker that I'll talk about for today's video is the one that always brings alcohol and other types of hard drugs, but they're always like high or drunk on the job site. Now, this one is very scary as well, because I've dealt with it in the past too, where I've seen like a couple coworkers reeking of alcohol, like you could smell it on their breath, and it was absolutely terrible, right? And it was just smelling really bad. They were slurring their words and shit. And the weirdest part is, most of the time they try to hide it enough, and most of the time the managers don't seem to pay attention or care, sadly. And it's crazy, because a lot of these people who are quote unquote like drunk and shit, a lot of them be fucking, you know, working forklifts, pallet jacks and everything. They be doing whatever the fuck, you know, to try to work and get ahead and try to keep work sane. But it's really sad too, because a lot of these people have a lot of issues going on in their personal life, and you just don't understand what could lead them to be doing this at work. But you know, it's really sad, and a lot of the times they usually end up getting fired really quickly once they get figured out. But it's really depressing to see like someone get to that state of mind where they want to fucking, you know, get high or drink at work all the time. And I'm not talking about like marijuana, I'm talking about like super high and other shit. Anyways, everybody, that's all the types of coworkers I can think of on the top of my head. Feel free to let me know if I missed any, because there's a lot of coworkers, or a lot of types of coworkers that are definitely around the scene somewhere. And there's probably some that are not as popular. So if you guys have any more stories about, you know, coworker drama and shit, or just crazy type of coworkers at work that are haven't listed in this video, feel free to write down your story in the comment section below, because I would like to read a lot of this, you know. Also, I also want to say is thank you guys so much for the love and support for the last video. I did not expect that video to do as well as it's doing right now. So thank you all so much. You're all loved very much. I do appreciate to all the people who are actually surprisingly donated on the last videos, because that kind of blew my mind a little bit too. You guys are loved, and yes, you guys are much appreciated. Anyways, I'm about to go outside, hang out with some couple friends. It's my day off, so I'll see y'all in the next video, and I hope you all have a good one.